and good evening, everyone. We want to, oh, I love that. I'll say that again so everybody can respond. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. We are so excited to have all of you here tonight. It is so good to see some familiar faces and some new faces, and we just want to welcome you. I would like if you all just give yourselves a round of applause for being here and showing up. We are excited for this opportunity for Mayor Melton and team to be able to share some really important updates with you and be responsive to everything that you have submitted. So tonight is your night. This is all for you, for us to be engaging with you tonight and to receive your feedback so that we can all work together for a greater Gary. So somebody say greater Gary. Greater Gary. I think y'all say greater Gary. Greater Gary. Right, okay, so I just want to give you some quick information. Okay, so the mayor is going to give his presentation to you all. And I want you to know that after the forum, if your questions and concerns were not answered or addressed, the mayor is going to have his own table, okay? And aside from the mayor's table, every department head from the city of Gary, along with some of our sister agencies, are also going to have their own table in the hallway. So I'm sure many of you have seen those beautifully decorated tables, all for you, so that you have the opportunity to approach that appropriate department with whatever lingering concern or question that you may have. Is that all right?
Amen.
Okay. And so then once Mayor is done again, we'll greet you in the hallway to be able to receive you. So if everybody can give a round welcome and round of applause to the Honorable Mayor of the City of Gary, Mayor Eddie D. Melton.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
My voice is a little agitated. I'm under the weather. No COVID. I took a test last night. So just bear with me if my voice is a little raspy. So thank you so much. First off, I give honor to God for this opportunity. You know, it is truly a blessing. It's a blessing and an honor to serve as mayor of the city of Gary. So I want to jump straight into it. I typically get a little long-winded in my intros and things of that nature, but we have a lot of good information, a lot of issues to address head on. And I want to make sure the questions that you have an opportunity to ask them. Tonight is our second time of presenting our town halls in this fashion. We wanted to bring City Hall to you. This is why we ask every department head and every single department to come out and make themselves available. So typically individuals will come and they ask questions, and only 3 or 4 people by the end of the night ask questions. And we want to give folks an opportunity to really dig deep into issues that you may have, be it something on in your neighborhood or on your block. So I want to thank you so much. I want to thank everybody that came from our team. I'm going to introduce those folks. But I want to thank the members from the Gary Common Council that's here as well. So let's give a shout out to the Madam President, Ty Atkins, of the 4th District. 5th District Councilwoman Linda Barnes-Caldwell. Any other council members here? Any other council members here?
On their way.
All right. Dr. Stokes, Gary Schools Superintendent, thank you so much for being here as well. So here's the agenda. Kiana provided the welcome. I want to thank Kiana. This is her first year with this city. She is our Director of Constituent Services. We're going to talk about our mission, vision, and values. I'm going to introduce our department heads. I'm going to ask them to stand up so they can turn around and introduce themselves. I'm going to ask Ms. Celine Green, our controller, to give a highlight of the budget. You know, we passed the budget last night with the Gary Common Council. We're excited about that. We didn't want to miss this opportunity to share that with you. Then I'm going to give some general updates. We're going to talk about a call to action. Kiana's going to come back and share some things with you. Then the department engagement. Again, I'll have a table as well. We're going to give folks a couple of minutes apiece to sit down, ask me whatever questions they have, whatever issues they may have. They'll instruct you where that's going to be, but everybody will have a chance to talk to the department heads. Then we'll conclude the rest of the evening. So, mission, vision, and values. Our mission, we are committed to improving the quality of life for every citizen through transparent, efficient, and fiscally responsible leadership. Our vision, we will thoughtfully grow as a safe community that continuously improves the services we provide citizens and businesses in the city of Gary. And our values, what we stand for, I serve. Service is extremely important to this administration. Integrity, service, excellence, responsive, being responsive. Tonight is an example of us striving to be responsive to those needs and issues. Vision and having empathy. Now, we've been in office close to 11 months now, and I'm extremely excited about the work that we've done, but I'm not extremely pleased. There's a lot of work that has to get done, and we do have a vision. We have direction that we're going to go forward, and I just want to make sure you guys know that. So the first 100 days, we had the 100-day event, right, the State of the City. That was at Westside High School. Then we had another town hall forum similar to this format that we had at one of our local churches, and tonight is the follow-up. But I always want to share, folks say, what were you thinking about those first 90 to 100 days? And I had to kind of put it in bite-sized chunks for folks to realize what we're striving to get accomplished. So number one, stabilizing our finances. That was extremely important. So stabilization, not only that, but building a great team. And I'm going to share who those team members are. Stabilizing our neighborhoods. We have 14 distinct neighborhoods throughout the city of Gary, historic neighborhoods. And each one of them have their own unique characteristics. So it's something that we're striving to preserve, that history of them, but also figuring out how do we take them to the future to address the issues we're going to talk about tonight. In our schools, working with the Gary School Corporation, all of our other school entities, but also, and just I want to pause, and is folks from Indiana University Northwest here in the room? Well, let's give Indiana University Northwest a hand, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of communities don't have a higher ed institution, but we have two. IUN as well as Ivy Tech. So we're truly blessed to have those entities in our own backyard. Improve quality of life. This was extremely important for us, focusing on supporting our senior citizens, public safety outcomes, infrastructure, blight elimination, growth. This was a priority. In order for us to have a solid community moving forward, we have to have a community that's going to grow our population and grow our businesses. Increasing the small businesses, quality housing stock, that's a focus of ours. We're going to see going on for over the rest of this year, but also going into the future. How are we going to improve our quality housing stock, increasing job opportunities? And we're going to talk about that as well. And finally, these are the four focus areas again: planning for the future, comprehensive planning. We have a lot of plans that were done over the last 15 to 20 years, and some of those plans have valid and valuable information in there that we're looking to consolidate, but also enhance to improve on development. There'll be housing or development as well. Supporting our homeless. We have a huge homeless population folks are not talking about. Now, it's not just in Gary. It's through northern Indiana. It's through the entire state of Indiana. It's just something that we have to be very mindful of to address. Food insecurity in Transit Development District, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So let me just run through. Hold your applause if your son up here or daughter. Ellis Dumas, Chief of Staff, if you could stand up for me, please. Michael Suggs, Chief Operating Officer. Carla Morgan, our Corporation Counsel. Erica Blackwell, our Chief Communications Officer. Chief Derek Cannon. Fire Chief Larry Tillman. Our Building Commissioner, Floresdale Hawkins. And our Director of Community Development, Reagan Hatcher. Mr. Luther Green, our Controller. Nate George, our Director of Public Works. And Levita Sparks Wade, our Director of Venues, Parks, and Recreation. William Allen, our new City Engineer. Wendy McLaurin, our Director of Human Resources. Aretha Allen, our Internal Auditor in the Mayor's Office. Brenda Scott Henry, Director of Sustainability and Environmental Affairs. Christopher Harris, Executive Director of the Redevelopment Commission. Veronica Collins with the Health Department, Executive Director. And Kiana Grant, you met earlier, Director of Constituent Services. Dr. Seabrook, our Health Commissioner, is here. Diana Morrow with the Gary Public Library. I'm not sure if she's here tonight, but we want to thank her for her service. Hanifa Khalid, Director of Human Relations. And Michael Forey, Chief Information Officer. And Maddie Fitzgerald, Director of Recycling. If you can join me in giving them a hand, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate it. I don't know if you got the mic, Selena, but before I give you the mic, I got to acknowledge one person, my wife. Trustee Melton gets next. The floor is yours, Ms. Green. Like I said, she's going to give us an update on our budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. One of the main responsibilities of the Finance Department is to manage the budgets and that budget process for the City of Gary. Last night, the City Council approved the 2025 budget for 12 tax-based funds for the City of Gary, totaling $122,975,331. This is $1,922,033 less than 2024. The funds, the 12 funds that are included in the budget is the General Fund, the Park and Recreation Fund, and Cumulative Capital Development. They're all funded through property taxes. Police pension, fire pension is funded through the state of Indiana. Local roads and streets and motor vehicle highway is funded through gasoline tax. CEDAT, which is the economic development, and COET for public safety, police, and fire solely for their purposes is funded through the county local income tax. The LDA, which is the local development agreement, and wagering and admissions is funded through casino. So again, this was a reduction of $1,922,000. And for the next couple of minutes, I am going to speak about the general fund. The general fund budget for 2025 is estimated and approved for $66,239,587. And you're probably wondering, where's the money coming from for that budget? The revenues that would support the budget will be $12 million from wagering and admissions, $6 million from the LDA Casino Fund, 2.9 out of about 6.5 million from CEDAT. Miscellaneous revenues, and this is from our licenses and permits and all those revenues that come through the city for services, is $5,155,000. And property taxes estimated by the numbers that are given to us from the state is $41,766,998. The estimated is based on 100%. We do not use 100% to calculate what will be used for the general fund budget. We use 85% because we do know that there are appeals and there are some funds that are uncollectible. We are projecting an ending balance for 2025 at about $9 million. That includes $7 million that we currently have in investments. So we haven't allowed for the interest that we'll earn next year, being conservative. And that also includes about $2.5 million that we estimate at the end of this year that will roll over to next year. If you look in Gateway will show that we are looking at about $15 million. But again, that's at 100% of collection for everything. We are conservative, and we are thinking it'll be more like $9 million. For our public safety, just to give you an idea of public safety finances, for the general and lit, this comes from the county fire budget, it's budgeted at $19,295,076. The general fund and police lit budgeted $17,854,263. Total general fund and lit for the police department and fire department is about 48% if you're only looking at the lit in general of the total general budget. And it's 56% if you're not using lit. So in other words, if we did not have the county income tax to offset our public safety, then we would be using 56% of the general fund budget for our public safety. The mayor and staff continually seek additional revenue streams to support our budget and to increase our services to our community. However, we are also constantly identifying cost savings to minimize our expenses and maximize our revenues. A few of our cost savings for 2024 include departmental spending reductions, streamlining operations to reduce our expenses, so we're hoping to see at least 5% less spent out of the budget that is actually appropriated for 2024. Asset recovery and savings in utilities, we are now tracking our inventory, and we have performed an audit of our utility services. And our savings have amounted to about $500,000 in telephone expense and services. Rebidding citywide contracts, many of our contracts were long-standing, so they were not competitive. And by going to market, we have achieved a $600,000 savings. And also investing. We have offset our banking service costs with earned interest, and we are also earning additional interest by now investing in CDs and money markets. And that kind is an overview of the budget for 2025.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank Sylvia for that. Again, this budget passed last night. We're going to make this presentation available. We're going to update it with that data information, and we're going to put it on our website just so everyone knows, and you can see it for yourself, and probably have another public event just around that yourself. So, around the context of how we prepare the information tonight, we provided opportunities through various avenues for questions to come in. And here's a summary of some of those and the channels that came through. So we had about, about 93 responses were received. We asked for our responses through the various platforms, against social media, on our Facebook page, City of Gary, through our email system. If you haven't, please sign up for our emails that we send out, which provides various updates of events and activities in administration. WLTH, our partner here, I know Natalie is here, and also folks that was not on technology, they would come up to City Hall and there was a form that folks would provide and submit. So thank you to everyone that provided some of these questions. A lot of them were very similar in nature, so we're doing our best to encapsulate what we're going to share tonight before we go. So, blight removal. Huge issue in the city here, we all know this. So let's tackle it right now in terms of what we're doing. I want to thank Director of Public Works and the entire General Services team, Recycling, Parks Department, you name it, Streets Department, everyone. This is an all hands on deck situation during this administration. Focusing on maintaining our corridors is something that's extremely important. And when you see some of the progress we're having, you'll see that especially during the wintertime as we're trying to maximize the limitation of growth of the vegetation. Professional treatment of the vegetation on Broadway, they just happened, making investments in graffiti removal. Let me talk about graffiti removal real quick, because this was a huge issue online. One of the main things that I'm noticing around graffiti removal, the more progress we've been making in terms of making the city of Gary ready for development and growing and cleaning up, we're seeing an increase of illegal dumping. We're seeing an increase on folks dumping tires. We're seeing an increase of graffiti. And there's several other issues. Let's just kind of dwell on those three really quick. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So what we're planning to do around the graffiti removal, we asked our Director of Community Development, we need to add additional workers into the General Services team to focus specifically on graffiti removal. We started the process and researching how we can find the equipment and purchase the equipment to both remediate and remove the graffiti that we're seeing on city-owned properties and working with property owners to get that addressed. The Traffic Department. In 4 years, this is the first time in 4 years you're going to see us striping streets. We're putting street lines in the middle of street roads. So you'll see that improvement taking place in various neighborhoods. So our main thoroughfares that the city owns, not the state owns, but with the city-owned streets. Recruiting new contractors for grass cutting and tree trimming. Always stay on alert if you have a small business, if you are working, if you're plowing snow, if you're cutting grass. Stay tuned and in touch in terms of when we release these RFPs. New waste bins. I don't know if you guys seen the waste bins that we have up and down Lake Street as well as on Broadway. Somebody already tore up one of them. I'm a little upset. Somebody already messed up one of those new trash cans too. So installing cameras throughout the city to hold illegal dumpers accountable. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. We know it's November almost, and any day now, Lord forbid, we can get snow. So Harlan, Director of General Services, he's been working with Michelle Woods, Nate George, and Stone. They're putting together that plan for winter preparedness. We purchased all the salt. We have the salt ready for a major snow event. So that box is checked. But right now, what we're putting in place, making sure the communication tools are in place so you all will know if there are emergencies or streets are closed down. So we're trying to perfect that aspect of it. With the communication piece. So you'll see here the elements of what triggers a major event. So right now, emergency categories, if it's minor, between 2 to 4 inches. If it's heavy, 9 inches or more. And we'll notice those travel restrictions. So again, communication is going to be critical and key. And remember to check on the senior citizens, those that are living by themselves that can't be mobile during that winter time. So we want to work with you all on this piece. Let's talk about code enforcement. Where's Mr. Anthony Edwards at? Mr. Edwards is leading our code enforcement department. I want to thank him so much. In the last couple of months, he's putting several things in place, and he's cracking down on a lot of stuff. You can see right here, partnering with the reserve officers. So historically, we've had, 4 code enforcement officers? 6 citywide. And now leveraging and partnering, because we moved code enforcement from the building department to the police. So that leveraged us to grow that workforce in that effort. So thank you for that leadership. Implementing working on weekends. They may not, I don't know if they like that or not, but we found that the individuals that were working on homes that didn't have a permit, fixing their roof and gutting homes, and didn't have a garbage bin, then they'll dump into somebody else's neighborhood. So they're out working. So if you see something, say something. If individuals don't have a permit in their window, please let us know. So you'll see some of those elements there too. I'm trying to make sure we stay on time and on track so we can get to the questions. Illegal dumping task force. So the state of Indiana gave us $500,000 to start tackling illegal dumping in the city of Gary, specifically with 2 key sites that people were taking advantage of. So that $500,000 will help us secure those sites, but also put up the technology and cameras to help catch individuals that's taking advantage of these locations. So we want to thank the state of Indiana for that opportunity. 201 littering dumping citations issued and 170 citations in court process. We've been working very closely with our judge, so we want to thank Judge Deidre Monroe for our partnership, and you'll see all of our partners here. But here's the information right there. If you see someone dumping, if you see someone that may be rolling around, listen, if you got a washing machine and a metal rack in your pickup truck and people just randomly driving around, typically they're not going to put that into useful locations. I'm just using that as an example. If they got a mattress and if it doesn't look right, typically they're going to dump that in some other neighborhood. So we're trying to crack down on the information. Let's talk about blight. The last number we had that captured close to about 8,000 abandoned structures throughout the city of Gary. That's both commercial and that's residential, right? We have a strategy to start addressing that. So I just wanted to share that with you tonight. But I use this graphic as an example of not just how to eliminate blight, but how do we turn it into opportunity. This City Methodist Church, you guys seen it on YouTube. You guys see it on Facebook, social media. Folks that's not from here will typically run through it with their cameras and post it. And I want to thank and shout out the police department. Last week we caught someone. Christopher Harris in his office seen folks from Ohio traveling to Gary to run through this building. I'm not going to tell you what I said to him, but long story short, I told him, number one, you could have killed yourself running through there. Number two, beep, 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 beep. But here's an opportunity that we see right now. So we already have the funding to do the demolition. Let me say that, number one. We have the funding to do that. We can't tear the city down and expect it to grow at the same time. So we have to have a balanced approach. So although we have the funding to demolish this building, we also are seeking the funding through the state, and is getting pretty close, to preserve the tower to that structure. And use it as a possible stone garden. A little bit more about blight. You see here the density in the various neighborhoods that we're talking about, the abandoned structures. We have 1,317 unsafe buildings. So what does that mean? Buildings that have, or homes that have caught fire and have just been sitting there. Some of them might be leaning on another house or close to it. Those are emergency structures. What we've done this year is use the power that we have to start enforcing that on those property owners to make sure folks are accountable for those structures. So the key density areas for this is in the Midtown, University Park, Glen Park, Tolleson, and Brunswick area, just to give you an idea of where we're seeing a high concentration of the blight of abandoned structures. So just give you an example of that. We're working with the state, and they're asking for this data. Let's deal with the unsafe buildings first. The unsafe buildings first. We know historically what has happened in some of these unsafe buildings. So these are some of the areas that we've identified. The 900 most dangerous structures, and 150 of the properties are on the roll of our emergency demolition list. So right now we have a request before the governor, before he leaves office, to help us fund the rest of this project so we can kickstart not just demolition, blight elimination downtown, but throughout the entire city. So this is our effort to get that underway. So many of you might be aware of what happened earlier in the year. I want to thank Reeve Riley, Hassey Construction, Sealy Construction. When we came in office, Reeve Riley came to us and said, we want to be a part of what's happening in Gary. And they donated their time and demolished over 40 homes for us for free. On average, it's going to cost us anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000 per home. And they did it for free. And they're going to do it again next year. So we want to thank them for that. I'm not sure, we don't have time. There's a video. We'll show the video later if we have time, but we want to thank folks on that piece of it. On our building department, I want to thank the common council for passing this ordinance. We were getting a lot of folks telling us that they were having issues finding contractors that they can rely on to complete projects in their homes, be it if it was a roof or a kitchen and things of that nature. We had a lot of those complaints come directly to the community development department if we funded that project for some of our seniors. A lot of those contractors, it's up to you to decide whether you're going to use them, but we also have to decide whether you're going to use them as well. But with the growth that's happening right now, many of you may not realize it, the growth, and I'm going to share the data of individuals that's working and rehabbing our homes around the city. You all see it in various neighborhoods. We needed more qualified, licensed contractors. So this ordinance allowed us to have reciprocity with communities that have already allowed individuals to pass the test to work with the City of Gary Buildings Department. So give us a little time as the department kind of ramps this program up. If you know contractors, please tell them to reach out to the building department if they're licensed. Investing in Gary, 2,200, you tell I'm sick. 2,211 permits issued to contractors, over $1 million of revenue already this year that we've acquired in individuals. So this is something that we're really proud of, and the individuals that we're looking to help grow the city. Let's talk about infrastructure upgrades. A lot of questions, and I'm going to call our city engineer up in a second, just to give me some backup. All right? A lot of questions on the 93 or 90 plus questions that came through was either about potholes, it was either about street lights, sidewalks, and a variety of other infrastructure and traffic lights. And we want to touch on all of that tonight. We want to thank NDOT. I got to give NDOT a shout out because they've been partnering with us now, and we're also partnering into the future as we repave the gateway into I-90 right off downtown and Broadway. So that project can be done in just another few days or so. So you can just see that that's going to help us in terms of that gateway attraction as folks come into the city of Gary. I want to thank the council again for approving $3.4 million of American Rescue Plan funding. Listen, he'll tell you, I'm on him every single day. Where my street lights at?
Every day.
Where my street lights at?
Text messages.
I ain't say, don't even gotta say all that. The city of Gary owns over 2,000 streetlights, right? And how many were broken when we got in office?
900.
900 were broken, right? So, by November 20th, we'll have phase one starting. Phase one would be 5th Avenue, Grant Street, and Ridge Road. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Come on, I'm going to explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah, just like the mayor said, we finally have a start date of November 20th to start with phase one, which is considered the major corridors for our businesses, with phase two to follow shortly after that. So for the most part, this year was just taking the time to do an assessment to understand all of our infrastructure, what's working, what's not, and kind of troubleshoot why we are seeing some of the issues that are causing our streetlights to not be working.
Go to the next one.
Go to the next one?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna expound just a little bit
Yeah, go ahead.
on like what we see out in the streets and the reasons why some of our lights are out. Besides this old infrastructure, for example, the lights that are on Broadway between 3rd Avenue all the way down to 9th Avenue, those are old poles that aren't manufactured anymore. And the bulbs, the acorn fixtures, to reproduce those, they kind of come at a heavy expense. So with this assessment, we found ways to get updated, improved infrastructure for our lights, while also being mindful of the money and the dollars being spent. So we're able to get done the entire city, thanks to the mayor, thanks to the common council, with a $3.4 million, and still have some funds left over. So we'll be buying extra poles, extra fixtures. So the reason why some of our lights aren't working is because of, unfortunately, accidents that happen from time to time, and then old infrastructure. And then when the accidents happen, the wires get ripped out of the ground, and old photo cells as well need to be replaced in order to energize all these poles.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about streets, our roads, really quick. Now, the one thing I noticed about Will and his experience, how long you been doing this, Will?
7 years.
7 years. This is his first year with the city of Gary, so we're very grateful. We've been 15 years in the city of Gary without an engineer. Full-time. So he's our first full-time city engineer in 15 years. He came in, he said, we need to do a PACER rating. I said, Will, what is a PACER? I don't get it. Can you explain what a PACER and what we did?
So it's pretty much just taking a look at all your infrastructure pavement-wise and finding out what the conditions are and ranking it on the legend here from really 1 to 9. We also added in roadways that have concrete as a surface, as well as gravel throughout the entire city. So if we were to just lump in some of these numbers and what some of the maintenance is required for them. So if you have like a 9 or a 10, that means your road just got repaved. So there's very little, minimum work that needs to be done in order to preserve that. So your 9, 8s, and 10, if it was up there, you really don't have to do anything to them. Your 7s, to your 4s are pretty much where you do your mill and paves. If you go down the street, you'll see.
What is a mill and pave, so they'll know?
That's pretty much taking off a certain layer of asphalt or concrete, because we do have some concrete roads, and then replacing that new on top. You can go as minimum as 1.5 inches or as deep as 4 inches. And just by doing our assessment, we found out that a lot of streets have been neglected. There's quite a bit of work that's going to need to be done. in order to make sure that, we're even above, the national standard for our roadway infrastructure.
Right.
So we have around 524 miles of roadway throughout the city, and then we figured that it will cost $165 million in order to correct every roadway throughout the city.
All right. So the plan moving forward, at least from a 10-year perspective, is figuring out how do we finance that over a period of time. You will leave here tonight and have the opportunity to go find your street. When you go outside, we have all the rankings of every single street. You'll be able to know what your street has grade as. That's going to help us determine how we prioritize paving. So it's not going to be based off who you know anymore. Oh, wait. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. We got a process now, I'm trying to say. I'm sorry.
We got a plan.
Sidewalks.
So along with doing our roadway inventory, we also took a second to, well, not really a second, it took the whole year, but to take a look at the conditions of the sidewalks throughout the entire city, which we estimated around $20 million in order to do the entire city for areas that are marked yellow and red. Green represents good condition, yellow fair, red poor. And so when we did our PASER study, we went through, we took a look at the regulatory signs, so stop signs, street name signs, to see the reflectivity of them, because there are times where you're driving down the street and you can't even see the stop signs. And so it factors in signage, sidewalks, and roadway conditions.
We gotta move.
Yeah, okay, so there's multiple grant opportunities for us in order to take advantage of dollars from federal agencies in order to do safety improvement projects throughout the city. First grant, Safe Streets for All, $5 million, I think over the next 2 years can be made available to the city through our redevelopment department. We've already started our design plan in order for implementation funds to be available as soon as 2025. So projects like traffic signals, stop signs being replaced throughout the entire city, that can be taken care of through this application that we recently submitted, Highway Safety Improvement Program grant application, $14 million to totally replace every single stop sign throughout the city that we picked up in our PASER study.
All right, so we're clear, this is not money that we have now. This is money that we're applying for to get this work done.
Right, fingers crossed. But we have a good chance of getting it.
All right, good. All right, you want to talk a little bit about this so we can kind of move forward?
So along with the engineering department, public works, and a number of different departments doing construction-related work throughout the city, we also have utilities, such as Indiana American Water with their lead service line replacement project. So nearly $97 million is to remove or replace almost 30,000 lead service lines within certain areas across the state. And so they've started, in the city of Gary, replaced around 13,000 lead service lines in northwest Indiana.
Yeah. So if you have someone working in your neighborhood on service line, this is going to be American Water. So just so you know who's doing that work. That was a question specifically on the list about the lead service replacement. We know federally, President Biden issued the funding to help address this issue as well. So we want to thank him for that. Yeah. To request a lead pipe service line upgrade, contact Indiana American Water for us. All right?
So we also are coordinating and working with various railroad companies throughout the city, Norfolk Southern, CXX, Canadian National. I think to date we have, so far this year, we've had about 6 crossings, I want to say, got improved or repaired. Norfolk Southern has done 4, with 2 more that they want to do before the end of the year. CXX, I know 11th Avenue was a big concern. They come out and done temporary repairs to that line on Broadway with a permanent fix to be done in 2025. Canadian National, over there by Fifth Avenue and Blaine, was just recently, redone. Norfolk Southern has quite a few crossings that are on the list in order to be done this year, starting now, also carrying over into Q2.
One last one.
Okay, so with GSD, we recently had a ribbon cutting for our 27th and Chase Force Main and Pump Station Improvement Project that we were partnering with Army Corps of Engineers for. The project cost was around $3.6 million, and pretty much it just took care of making sure one of our biggest pump stations stays online, and we maintain that so that we can upkeep capacity issues throughout the entire area, which just services multiple neighborhoods.
Right, so this will help minimize some of the flooding of folks south of 25th and 25th Avenue, right?
Yes.
Yes, so if issues and basements and things of that nature, this is to help alleviate a lot of that backup in folks' basements, so.
And GSD is actively looking for funds to do similar projects for other pump stations throughout the city.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Will. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to talk really quickly about community development, some of the things, and I'm going to just try to hit it as quick as I can. Representative Reagan-Hatcher helped us start to frame this program called Gary First. It's a Gary First housing program. One of the things that we know, the city of Gary, meaning if it's the redevelopment commission, the city of Gary, or various other partner agencies, owns a lot of property and a lot of parcels, especially residential sites. We'll talk a little bit more about Notre Dame, but Notre Dame helped us design, they helped designing various shapes and designs of homes. So what we're going to do, you want to share it or you want to share it? You going to be quick? All right, come on.
All right, thank you. First, let me just thank everybody for coming out this evening. This is such a wonderful crowd. And let me just say how innovative the mayor has been in these first 10 months that we've been there. All of these projects and all of these programs that we've come up with are brand new, and he has just kind of given us the go-ahead to figure out what can we do as individual department heads to make things better. So this is a project I'm super excited about. This is a project I'm super excited about. It's called Gary First. Now, who remembers GUEA here in Gary? Okay, a few of us do. GUEA was a program that really started with a bang in the Emerson neighborhood. But some things happened, things went a little south, and a lot of Emerson property has been sitting vacant for almost 20 years now. And it's just made the community, we don't have the density in the Emerson area, but Emerson is a really awesome site because it's close to the baseball stadium, it's close to downtown, it's close to 8094, it's close to the train station. So we want people to come back and move into Emerson area. So the mayor said, well, how can we get them back in? So we were like, well, what can we do? So the city of Gary owns a number of lots in Emerson. And what we want to do, prioritizing city employees first and then on to city residents, is to say, hey, if you're willing to take a lot in Emerson and either build new or renovate, we'll give it to you. And not only will we give it to you, but we'll give you financial support in not just the building of it, but also in the financing of your mortgage. Now, it's a great program. The idea, of course, is to get more people into the city. So that's why we're prioritizing city employees. And we get it all the time. I work for the city, I want to live in a city, but I can't figure out where to live. Where should I live? What's the good neighborhood? Where should I go? Now, most people, everybody talks about Miller, but many of us are priced out of Miller. And so how do we get to an area where we feel safe, secure, and it has all the amenities that we're looking for? So we want everybody to look at Emerson. We think Emerson is the next best stop in the city of Gary. Now, this program is going to, I think it's really going to take hold. I think there's going to be a lot of interest here. It's going to jump off December 1st.
That's the goal.
Well, I'm ready. I'm not saying don't call the office before December 1st, but I'm saying on December 1st, you should be able to get onto the website, take a look at the available lots, and start putting in your application. Now, as I said, it's no money for the lot. However, we want to make sure that we put you with the right builder, and these builders are going to be tried and tested builders. We want to make sure we put you with the right financing through whatever bank it's going to be. But we're there to support you through the process. Down payment assistance, making sure your foundation is poor, making sure the infrastructure is set. It goes back to Will in his PACER report. We're working through that to make sure Emerson is hit, and we make sure that you move onto a nice block. So I'm really excited, and it's probably the biggest program that's going to be coming out of community development.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Reagan. The reason why I say we got a few steps that we got to finalize before that is officially out, but that's a sample of the neighborhood that we want to just test and try so we can move around. They was telling me I got to hurry up, so I'm going to try my best to keep moving. We received a $100,000 grant from the Bloomberg Foundation for a new program that was once ran before Love Your Block. So you'll hear more about that information coming soon. We received a grant in the beginning of the year to hire a full-time grant writer. So we have a full-time grant writing team for the city of Gary. So shout out to those folks. Brenda Scott Henry, we're part of a major collaboration of other municipalities that we are a part of a $117 million grant to help us provide solar on low-income housing. So that's something that is already received. We already approved for that grant, and we're in the process now of implementing and designing what that program looks like to figure out and promote it out to you guys. So just give you some context there. Parks and Recreation, a lot of updates here. You see a lot of what Levita Sparks Wade is doing in terms of renovating some of our parks. I'm super excited about Roosevelt. We partner with a lot of folks there, the Railcats. Who else we partner with? Home Field Advantage, LaTroy Hawkins. All these folks stepped up and helped us renovate. We put a new irrigation system into that field, so this is going to be really beautiful next year. So you'll see some of those updates. And you see Tolleson Park. This is an example of those jewel parks that took place. I knew it was going to come up, Gleason Park. So I'm going to beat y'all to the punch. The Parks Department has been working extremely hard. Anyone rode by Gleason Park lately? Give them a hand, ladies and gentlemen, please. Don, I see you, man. That's everybody's backyard. That's what I'm calling it. I want to see Gleason Park be our central park. And how do we honor it? The history there, there's a lot of history in the city at that park. So again, as we're creating that course of where we go in the future, just be patient with us. But right now, we wanted to show that respect to the history of that park. So it's all the folks that walk around there in the morning, enjoy yourself. The new lighting is going to take place in that street light piece as well. So that's coming soon as well. Health Department. Ms. Veronica, they're doing a great job at the Health Department. You're going to be digitizing birth records, right? That's good. I remember when I was in college, every time I lost my birth certificate, I had to come back to Gary to come pick it up in person. So we were trying to alleviate that and move into the future. We had opened up a new warming and cooling center that took place, the Monroe Smith Warming and Cooling Center. Also, we partnered with Brothers Keeper, Calumet Township Trustee, when individuals need service after 7 a.m. Narcan. We know that we live in a society where folks are overdosing on fentanyl and so many other illicit drugs where they need to be revitalized. So shout out to all of our public safety officials, right? Police and fire that is responding to a lot of these situations in real time. But we're figuring out how we can place these vending machines to make this available throughout the city. So we have received a grant for this, and this will be available. So thank you and Dr. Seabrook for that as well. As former state senator, this is a big issue in the state of Indiana, in particular, especially for Lake County and Gary, maternal mortality health. So we want to thank you all guys for working on this piece. This is a priority, especially when we look to grow a population. Now we're going to shift into the economy aspect. I'm going to talk really fast. Again, this will be online. We still want to make sure you guys have time to ask the questions and spend some more time with us. Senator 434, this was the last bill I passed as your state senator. This was $12 million, we already received that. We want to thank the Hard Rock that gave us $3 million for the match, so that's going to take place. We're going to receive $90 million, well, let me say this, $3 million for the next 25 years from the state of Indiana in matching dollars to help us build a new train station. We got to find a new developer to help us construct that. So the money, we've been approved for this already, so this is not maybe, this is going to happen. Lake County Convention Center. Anybody aware of that? Yeah. Exactly. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. Let me get to that. Indiana Sugars. When we came in office, Indiana Sugars was getting ready to leave. They were gonna leave the area. So we had conversations and worked with several landowners, and we were able to not only keep a company that's been here for over 100 years, help them identify a new location, but they're gonna build their new corporate headquarters and a new manufacturing plant and still keep the same one that they have as well. So we want to shout them out. But folks already know about the South Shore double tracking and so many other things. This is kind of the conceptual things that Christopher Harris has been working on. All of these plans that's been happening over the years are very valid. They have some great content and things that we are trying to pull together and work with professionals to build a more comprehensive plan for the entire city, not just downtown, not just Broadway, but the entire city. But we have to start somewhere. We got to start at our core. And you'll see some of the renderings, the Centier Bank building, they're looking to turn the other half of that building into residential. That's their vision to move in that direction. They got to fix the elevator. Then the Palace Theater is something that we're working on right now with BWI out of Indianapolis as they're seeking to complete the rest of their financing to build that. There's going to be mixed use, retail at the bottom, office space on the front half. We're going to demolish the movie house. People don't realize there's two structures. The movie house is going to get demolished, and they're looking to build residential for the rest of that structure. And that's just a conceptual rendering of the train station at the bottom there. All right. The convention center. I'm going to hit this as quick as I can, but I'm extremely excited about this. Myself, the president of Hard Rock, Matt Schufert, on November 6th at the Lake County, we present to the commissioners our proposal for the Lake County Convention Center. And the bill that I passed. Okay. I wasn't expecting that one, but okay, I'll take it. Listen, this is going to be an economic project in terms of not just the construction of it, but the jobs that's going to take place and the guarantee to make sure that as Gary local residents working to help construct that, that's something that's a priority of myself and this administration, but also I hired there once we're approved, Lord willing. So let me kind of give you an idea of what this is going to look like. This is already online. You can go to, you can just Google Lake County Convention Center proposal from City of Gary. You'll see more of the renderings. You'll get a concept. The Hard Rock will be building the hotel. They've committed to that. They will do that. 300-room hotel. The neighbors across the street have committed to building 2 hotels across the street. So we want to thank them for that as well. And the restaurant. So be praying that we get this, right? Just think about, because a lot of questions was, where's the entertainment? Why can't we go to the movies? Why can't we go bowl? We have to create that environment and the culture, and this district that we're trying to create is that future that we're trying to develop. Is Denise Dillon here? Ms. Dillon, thank you. You and your team. Greyhound is now a neighbor, a partner of ours, is downtown Gary. So just expanding our transportation assets throughout the region because Greyhound seen Gary as an opportunity. So we want to thank you guys for the leadership there. Again, the airport, we've broken ground on a couple other projects with the hangars and the runway and things of that nature. So there's progress that's taking place at the airport. Notre Dame, many of you came out to the Notre Dame charrettes. Hundreds of people came over a 5-day period to give their input on what they want to see in the future of downtown. So thank you so much for that piece of it. When it comes down to housing, when it comes down to retail, that's a rendering of what you all that participate in that gave your input on what you want to see in that corner, that intersection of the new train station downtown Gary. What we're doing, I talked about Indiana Sugars growing. Part of this project, as we're looking to grow that footprint area, there was a project called Fulcrum. Y'all remember Fulcrum? Well, there's no more Fulcrum. That site, we're right now actively working to make sure there's more comprehensive economic development that's taking place. So we wanted to make sure it in line with our vision around transportation and logistics, warehousing, and distribution in that footprint. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. Half a block away is the airport. Across the street is a deep water seaport. You got 3 Class 1 rail lines, Canadian National, CSX, Norfolk Southern, all right there. There's no reason why Amazon, FedEx, UPS wouldn't want to be there. Again, talked about double tracking, Miller Transit Station, a lot of activities taken around Miller Street, Lake Street. We know Dunkin' Donuts is getting ready to be built. They just demolished the first structure. So Dunkin' Donuts is getting ready to break ground. We have Taco Bell that's getting ready to close on a new location. There's going to be new construction, right? So people saying, it's 10 months. I ain't seen nothing yet. I'm like, all right, we coming. But we got individuals that actually are breaking ground, and jobs will be created, and businesses will be created and established that weren't here before. So I think that's not bad for 10 months. Shout out to Brad Sider. We talked about Dunkin' Donuts, Taco Bell coming soon, investing in our businesses. The council, before we came, and I'm give credit where credit is due, before we came, the council approved the funding in ARPA to give small businesses loans. Some of you may have already received that. But when we came in, the previous administration did not move it forward. It got a stalemate. So we were able to expedite the payment of those checks to individuals so they can have those dollars for their businesses. Let's talk about this, what I say. 1906, Gary was created, right? Why? U.S. Steel. When we got sworn in office, we met with U.S. Steel. Myself, chief of staff. Everything was okay. Oh, we're going to be good corporate partners, all that good stuff. Okay. The next day, the news came out about them getting sold. Nippon didn't come in the picture yet. I called and said, we was just with you yesterday for lunch. You didn't say anything about this. Anyway, fast forward, I've had multiple meetings with Nippon, the Japanese company. They have a base in Houston, Texas. And I'm here to tell you, I support this sale. I support the sale. And there's many people around the country that support the sale. Let me explain to you why. Number one, Nippon already has 2 factories in Indiana already. One in Pennsylvania. So they do business in the United States. It's not just a foreign company that just came to decide to buy this multi-billion-dollar corporation. They're going to buy them for $14 billion, the entire portfolio of U.S. Steel. We're just one aspect of that. They're not talking to any other mayor but the city of Gary right now, and we have to maximize this opportunity. And I wanted to be transparent, let you know, this is going to benefit us because they've already committed. How much is it, Mark? Well, $300 million in the blast furnace, which means it's going to sustain, guaranteeing the jobs will stay in Gary. So that right there was confirmation of their commitment. But we're not going to stop there. We have requests that we're going to work with them. We're going to talk about the environmental aspect. We're going to make sure that the way that their dealings with what type of fuel is, we know the history that has gone on here in the city of Gary. So this is a process. Congress has delayed making that decision. There was a committee, and we're hopeful that the president, current president, either will make that decision after the election or the next president of the United States will make that decision in favor of this. And more Congress people are supporting it. I knew this was going to come up. I knew it. All right. No, I ain't sweating. It's hot. When we walked in office, it had already been closed 3 years. The water didn't work, it was turned off, and it had been vandalized. Christopher Harris immediately secured the facility. Actually, before even, you can see signs of it being burnt. There was fires that occurred there. He put the dogs system in there, which is that grade you see around the Genesis Convention Center, just to prevent further destruction. Just to prevent further destruction. The alarm system was not working as well. So we're trying our best to protect that structure. I had to give you a glimpse of what we saw when we walked in. This is the reality. Now, we cleaned it up. This is cleaned up. This was day one when we walked in. But the folks at General Services, the Parks Department, Recycling, your own workers in the city of Gary went in and cleaned it up. Right? But we brought a contractor in there with us, and the news wasn't that great. So again, we've secured the facility within the first 90 days of coming in office. We have a brand new security system installed in there. The contractor told us it's going to cost up a minimum of $10 million just to replace the electrical, the plumbing, and the mechanical. That's not aesthetics. That's not carpet. That's not chandeliers. That's just to make it function. So we can't just have that blighted structure downtown. We have to put a plan forth. The city does not have the resources to fully renovate this, operate this on our own. It's not realistic. So we have to seek viable partners that have the financing and the partnership to help us bring this site back to life. So we're shaping what a request for proposals will look like. And we're gonna have to put it out and see who comes forth with ideas, the financing to partner with the city and to make sure that that happens. So I'm not gonna dance around this. This is a very tough issue. It took me the last minute to decide to put this in the slide. That's why I was late. Because it's not an easy conversation to have. So again, we have opportunities. This may not look exciting right now, but with the new train station coming in, $90 million investment, with the investment we're getting ready to put into the highway and the roads and Broadway with the Department of Transportation, we can't allow this structure just to sit idle. All right, public safety. I'm gonna ask Chief Cannon if he can come up real quick and hit us with some data information on public safety. Then Chief Tillman will come immediately behind him. So let's welcome Chief Cannon, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to say good evening, and thank you for coming out. It's beautiful just to look out into the audience. And also, I just want to let you know that we have hired some people. So we've hired 6 officers. Currently, we have 3 on the street, and also we have 3 in the academy. But we've hired somebody else, too. We've hired everybody here. There's been a mass amount of information that's come in from the community, and you have been a part of a lot of our successes that we're talking about. So also, just to let you know, oh, you can clap. You can clap. Also, just want to let you know, we have been in partnership with the Department of Justice, the DOJ, for the last 3 years, and I got contacted basically the first week that I started in reference to just restarting some programs that they had instituted with us. It's commonly known as PSP, Public Safety Partnership, and with the gains that we've had in violence reduction in other areas, we are one of few cities that has been awarded an extension. An extension normally doesn't come. What PSP does is add resources in technology and also technical assistance. And so I'm proud to say that we've been awarded an extra year, and I don't know what those dollars come down to, but it's thousands and thousands of dollars that our police department is getting this year for that. Planning on construction, I want to thank the mayor, and I also want to thank the internal team. Gary have been very supportive. Right now, we're instituting the program. We're going to invest in having a new gun range that's going to go along with our multi-use training facility, and then a new animal control shelter. Most people don't know that I started out my career in the city of Gary in 1999 as an animal control officer, and I want to thank this administration for putting resources in that effort because it really, really shows that they care. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor. Also, in investment, we've been really, really aggressive in trying to seek dollars, making sure that our in-house is accountable, making sure our books are straight, dealing with the federal government. So through Congressman Van's office, we've been awarded $264,000 that we are using for license plate readers and other technology. I know some of you probably have been reading the paper, and some of you have been following us on Facebook. We've had a lot of charges and convictions this year. We're really going after the criminals that's been predators historically for a long time in our community. Also, along with that, we want to thank the Lake County Commissioner, Carol Allen, for $262,000 in donation that he's given us in the Lake County government. That's going to go towards outfitting animal control vehicles, also safe rifle storage in our patrol cars, and then also the public safety signage. I know a lot of you go down Fifth Avenue and see that sign. That's going to be changing very, very soon. Just want to give a few stats before I invite up the chief of the fire department real quick. I was tasked January 1 with getting violence reduction. And right now I can say that shooting victims are down 9%, homicides are down 23%. And so thank you, I appreciate it.
You got another
Just
slide.
keep them. You got one more?
Chief, the date on the next, that's the date.
Oh, this for me.
Never mind, go ahead.
All right. Larry Tillman, Chief of the Gary Fire Department. Thank you for coming out. I really appreciate this community. You have been very supportive of the Gary Fire Department, and we've just hit the ground running. What I saw before I came up was a lot of economic development, and with that, on the Gary Fire Department, we know that we're going to have to keep up and not only protect what we have here, but grow for the future. So, starting off, the mayor tasked us with building out a recruitment and retention program. We were able to partner with Gary Firefighters Association Local 359, make a recruitment and that's the president right there, Kevin Benford. And we had brought out informationals for the community to bridge that gap of information with how to become a firefighter, the requirements that you need, what will happen after you come on the fire department. And we had 4 of those informationals throughout the year, and they donated their time. They didn't charge the fire department any money, no overtime, and we spent our Saturdays at the Hudson Campbell teaching the community about the fire department. We opened up our application process in October, and it is open right now. We are hiring. The starting salary is $56,650. And with those 4 informationals in the past few years, we've only been getting about 40 recruits coming out at a time to apply for the Gary Fire Department. To date, we have 180 new applicants for the fire department. We have 1 week left. It closes on November 6th, so if you have a son, a daughter, a cousin, whoever's at your house sitting on the couch and they looking for something to do, send them to City Hall on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. to the commission office to get an application. And that's going to be until November 6th. They have until November 20th to turn them in. Okay. No, go back. All right. So this year, also with our training division, we've had recruits that have graduated from our great training academy right here. We have 15 new recruits that we brought in January 2nd of this year. They graduated on July 11th from our training academy with 18 different certifications. That chief of training, Robert Grady, also trains all throughout the state. He actually did 20 live burns in Crown Point, teaching over 75 firefighters throughout the state in Crown Point. He's the only one with that 1403 certification, so we have an awesome team. We've also had several saves throughout the year. Notably, the last one that we had was a 4-year-old that was saved in Maryville, Indiana, as a crew was returning from South Lake Methodist. And so we're just thankful for the 7 saves that we've had through the year. We're getting some new upgrades for the fire department. We had a couple of pictures that were circulating last year, and we are bringing attention to those stations that do need help. So Station 13, Station 12, and Station 4 will receive updates to their kitchens and their bathrooms, and we're going to start those projects by the end of 2024. In the spirit of staying prepared, we have acquired some new equipment. We have 2 Ford Explorers that we just received that we are putting on the streets for Medic 400 and 500 to respond, to give advanced life support services to the city of Gary. We just purchased 2 Ford F-350s to get ready for that snow that's going to be coming. They're outfitted with plows and salt spreaders. And we want to thank the council for this because they appropriated some funds, the ARPA funds, for a new tower ladder for Station 2 at 1620 Adams. Earlier this month, we traveled to Appleton, Wisconsin to do that final inspection of that tower ladder. And in the parking lot, did anybody see that tower ladder as they were coming in? Did you see that big fire truck out there? Yes. All right, it was just delivered today at 11 o'clock a.m. So we brought it out here for you to see. We're going to be receiving training on it next month, and it's going to go in service at 1620 Adams Street, Station 2. Next slide. Okay, this is the next slide. We got fatalities on Lake Michigan. Have you seen any fatalities on Lake Michigan this year? That's right. When we first got in, that was one of the things that we actually brought to the administration. We were saying, man, this is a place that we feel like we're open. In 2019, they pulled the beach patrol of the fire department away from the beach. And so I kept talking to the administration, He said, can we make it happen? We said, yeah, we can. With overtime and putting members out there, they supported the effort, and we have lost 0 people at Lake Michigan this year. And I also want to thank the Parks Department, the lifeguards, and the beach patrol that were out there. We assisted them. Let me put it like that. We assisted them. They had some great saves this year, but no fatalities. And also, in the city of Gary, there has been no fire fatalities this year. We have completed all rescues, no fire fatalities. And I also wanted to mention before I go, I don't know if I said this, but the Gary Fire Department is hiring. Okay? So go get your people up, bring them out, have them come get an application. You don't need any certifications. We'll send them to the training division. They'll be there for 6 months, and we'll have them ready to go to be leaders in this community.
Good job, man. Thank you. All right. Folks, we got a really, really good team in this administration. I'm very proud of them, every single person. I didn't get to introduce Corey Sharp. Corey is leading our planning and zoning. Corey, if you want to stand and just wave everybody. She just joined the team. All right. Cultural events, we had as many cultural events that we could possibly have, almost too many, because our team was getting burnt out, so we're going to approach it differently, but they were quality in terms of the intentions, in terms of the celebration. So we're going to be returning back, and don't forget, tomorrow, trunk or treat in downtown by City Hall, it will be at the Hudson Campbell, so please come through and bring your little ones for that. Think Big. Anybody ever heard of Think Big? Woo! All right. Markel Watkins, Markel helps to lead Think Big, Beauty in Gary. And volunteers, if you want to volunteer to help clean up the city of Gary, please see Markel Watkins outside. This is helping the folks in general services and the Parks Department, when folks are throwing trash and litter in the streets and just kind of disrespecting the city, folks are literally coming out and volunteering their time. Call to action, Kiana, you want to come up and just tell us a little bit about 311 and the upgrades? And we're almost done, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so I know this is a big topic, so I'll try to go quickly and be as specific as possible. At the top of the year, we did a lot of digging into 311 to see how can we better respond and provide better service to our residents in Gary. And so with that, we did a complete reconfiguration of our 311 system. What that looks like is that we updated every single department in 311. We ensured that there was staff readily available to receive those requests in 311, and we have normed on the timeliness of responsiveness when it comes to the submission of your request. And so with that, we have relaunched our Gary 311 application, which is available for download in Google Play and Apple. And so far this year, we've had about 393 reports that were made through the app alone. And so you can download this app, and a couple of features on this app, you're able to report your issues. There's a bill pay tab. On that bill pay tab, it'll direct you to pay your bill, whether it's American Water, NIPSCO, or GSD. You can also stay informed via the newsletter. There is a newsletter that goes out to residents every month through our communications department. You can also stay abreast by clicking that events tab, and so you'll know all things coming up in the city of Gary. And of course, you can stay connected through Facebook or YouTube. And we will have these forms for instructions about 311 outside at the 311 table as well. Okay, and again, this will be outside. However, if you go to your store, you'll see Gary 311. It's best to create an account. If you create an account, you'll be able to see every single request that you've made along with the progress of those reports. So it's best if you create an account. As you know, you just type in the address of that complaint or request, and then you'll choose the department in which that pertains. If you didn't know, there are 9 City of Gary departments in 311. That's code enforcement, general services, redevelopment, building, zoning, health, recycling, and the Office of Sustainability and Environmental Affairs. So this is a massive success for Gary 311 reports. I know sometimes it does not feel like it, but these are the stats. Of all that we've opened this year in 2024, out of the 3,773 opened, we have resolved 2,037 of those reports. So I want to say part of our Gary 311 ad campaign. I'm going to say it out loud. Gary 311, it works. I just want you to try it out. Go in, make your request. And you should be receiving, and I'm saying this out loud because all of our department heads in 311 have been talking to their staff. We've been norming, we've been making gains. You should receive an initial reply to your request within 24 to 48 hours. Yeah, I'm going to say that again. Okay. You should receive an initial reply to your request within the first 24 to 48 business hours. We know that service is extremely important, not only to Mayor Melton, but to his administration as well. And so you can submit your reports on the app, or you can go on the website to submit those, or you can come to City Hall in person and get your requests or complaints entered into the system. Okay, so keep in touch. Please follow us on our Facebook page, City of Gary Mayor's Office. You can also go to YouTube, Gary TV, or you can follow us on our new page on Instagram, City of Gary _IN.